Oh, I broke it. Boom, nailed it. Also, I think I should have a fade out on the music, but this is not a professional anything, so I don't have that. Welcome to here. Okay. We did it.
We survived the intro. We did good.
Nice. This interview is going well. Also, something I just thought about, I don't know if you know, when I typed my channel name, you know how Twitch is twitch.tv, and then there are other places that are like Canada, Twitch, or .ca or .us or whatever. You know that's a tiny island?
Canada?
No. The codes at the end are countries, right? So there's a tiny island that is assigned to TV, and once Twitch started up and bought it, they started making a bunch of money from their little.
I had no idea.
Name. Yeah, now we all know. Boom, intro facts. Maybe that's a thing I'll start. I need more facts though, because that's the only one I got. For anyone, I guess, who starts on this one, this is a thing where I'm just like asking people that I think are really good at RP a whole lot of questions about RP, sort of in like a theory of RP kind of thing.
Man, if you think I'm good at RP, you're setting your standards pretty low here.
I know you're good at RP because we've RP'd together for a while. So
at least 2 seasons.
Joke's on you. Yeah. Plus, everyone that we all agree is good at RP, when they get in front of people, they're like, "Nah, I don't know anything. I'm just trying to wing it." And so's everyone else. So, cool. First off, before we even get into the basic questions of like what everyone else is answering, did you sell us out to the Navy?
No, actually, I never actually had the chance to do so. I did actually have a report written that I was going to turn in, and I never actually did so.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
But I was going to.
I don't care. We're just trying to find the leak. We think it's Foster, but we're not for sure. So, yeah.
Did the Navy call you out on what you were trying to do? You know, maybe it was that time you pretended to be a trade dock employee.
Well, you were the only person who saw that. That was awesome. I was like, man, I can't believe he just got off the ship in front of me. Dang it. It's so good.
I was legitimately confused for a minute.
Yeah. And I had the red on already and everything. It was so perfect. Dang it.
Cadet Pierre.
It would have been good. If I were into reusing characters, and I'm not because I just don't know what to do. So I want to try new stuff. I think I would do Pierre in the Navy because I think that like really greedy kind of thing would go well and interestingly. So, yeah.
Or really bad.
I mean,
in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. But so to get into the basic questions and stuff, we don't actually know a lot about Alistair Kennedy. How did you make him?
Of course not. You spelled the name wrong too.
Oh no, we did it.
Which was actually kind of a point of annoyance for me the entire season. Is that when I had chosen the name Alistair, I chose the old spelling of the name, which was Alastar. And so
okay.
STAR. And so when anyone would interact with me, or a lot of people anyway, I would introduce myself as Alistair, but they would always read my name as Alstar.
A-L-A
STAR.
STAR. Nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
So that got really annoying for me for after a while.
it was there the whole time. What do you mean? That's how it's spelled in every form that I have. Yep.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I definitely have not spelled it to other people. Yeah, for sure.
No, not at all.
Okay, my bad. How did you make him? What makes him different from like Edward and stuff?
Well, not a whole lot really. Personality-wise, I think that the two of them probably had a lot in common, and that's because they both had a lot in common with me. Um, but basically, I started self-learning the Irish language a while back, and so I decided to do an Irish character, and so that's where Alistair came along, the Irish accent. Really bad Irish accent that often slips it into Scottish, but
I cannot tell the difference. We talk about accents and voices a lot. I don't know what they are or where they're from. They just sound good. Praeceptor
oh
has a
no,
face. Yeah.
oh no, the crow has spotted me. I am doomed.
Yeah.
Yes,
Um,
Flutter, I am a human, believe it or not.
you know what? I think that at least 60% of our peers are probably also humans like us. Isn't that weird?
At least 60, maybe 7. Maybe 7.
Um, so you hung out with me a lot, and Croc a lot in the past. But again, I don't know what you've been doing this season. I saw a couple of your streams where you were like talking to people, but since I didn't know a whole lot about other people, I didn't know how all the pieces fit together. So, um, I guess what sort of characters do you like to, surround yourself with? And then also, what were you doing?
Well, that's the thing is that much like in real life, I'm kind of an introvert. And so I really struggle with actually getting into groups and in group RP. And so last 2 seasons that I've played, and the other season was on Twitch RP, uh, I was basically alone, solo. Like last season, I interacted with you a lot. That was for the most part. I was just doing trades as a solo, company owner. Um, this season, I kind of started that routine, and then about 1/3 into the season, decided that I was kind of entrapping myself in that RP. So I gave everything that I had to Freehaven, Port of Freehaven, down in D6. My galleon, my brig, everything. And I decided to just randomly wander, getting rides from place to place. Kind of like, I don't know if you know Hitch on Twitch, but I was kind of doing the,
Yeah,
the Hitch on Atlas thing.
that's cool.
And it was fun. It lasted for a bit. I would every time I would get to a place that I had to stay, I'd build a little thatch campground, basically, and then stay there until I could get the next ride.
Wow.
Yeah, but that ended up getting me in touch with the remnants of freelance fortunes, um, and ended up joining that group for a while. And it turns out that some members of that group, who I will not name, were actually informants for the Navy. And so, while at first, for the most part, I wasn't really an informant for the Navy, I was just surrounded by them. And so I started to pick up that habit of, gathering information. Long story short, uh, it was the first time I'd actually been in actual company. So it was an interesting experience.
Wow.
People scare me sometimes.
Yeah.
They have obligations.
Yeah, true. Um yeah, so that strikes me as wild, I guess, because like if if you had been like, "Hey, you want to like do some junk?" I would have been down to try whatever. I mean, like we're friends and then you and Croc and I are all friends together and pretty much anyone who like comes through is like, "Oh yeah, that guy, he's cool." So, um do you think that hmm well, Boxer was alone for a long time too, right?
Right.
Um do you think that there's something that these people who are playing these like super alone sort of characters and just meeting people along the way, is there something that could bring us into a company that we just aren't finding until boom we find it?
I don't know. I think the biggest thing for me is the drama that can sometimes happen in companies. Um, and I saw it even with the time that I was with the group that I was. Uh, within about 3 weeks, there was a big blow up, and the group basically split into two, three for a while, and then yeah. So it's I don't want that conflict that kind of can sometimes creep into the out of character experience.
Mhm.
That kind of threatens my enjoyment of the game. But really, it's just something I need to get over.
Yeah, well, first off, I'm pretty sure we all like to listen to you. First off, but second off,
Why?
you sound good. Like you could read me or read books or something, and I would be like, ah, cool. Yeah, I wonder what's gonna happen next. Awesome. But when there's a character too, and for example, the instance I'm thinking of is when somebody was like hiding their identity or something like that, and I think you were at ladies night and you were like telling people not to give it away or whatever. That little section that I tuned in for, it like it felt tense, like while you were like, oh snap, I gotta go, catch this person and let them know and stuff. Like it felt like just around the corner there was someone who might say, hey look, there's Stacy, but Stacy's trying to be Jessica for the night, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if they're gonna know about Stacy, so
That's
yeah.
when Raven Drake was trying to hide her identity so that no one would find out she was there because she was being hunted by the Keystone Pirates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that stuff, okay? But when I tuned in and you were telling those people, like, it sounded good, it sounded tense. The way you talk and the way it felt, like it was so tense, man. I was like, ah, jeez. So obviously I was talking at that point, you were talking to me and stuff, but yeah. Um I I think we should do that, Junk. I think that I just need to find my own like dramatic kind of feel. And then once I do, we should just go around and be super dramatic with each other. That would be awesome.
That could be entertaining.
Yeah. Be like, oh no, what's gonna happen next? They're here. Oh god. Oh man, that would be so good. Um so you mentioned I think you mentioned Twitch RP. I know that you play other games and you play in other groups and you play other things. So how did you wind up here with us, and what have you done RP wise elsewhere?
Oh, to be honest, online I haven't really done much other RP. Um, I attempted briefly to try to do GTA RP, and it just felt like too real world to me.
Yeah.
Like if I wanted to go like pretend to be someone working a job in a city, move to Chicago.
Yeah.
I can go become a trash man in Chicago. you
Yeah.
know, um, so I didn't really get into that. I don't know. I gave Atlas a try because I've always been a fan of the things like sea shanties and nautical history. Nautical, that's right. History and things like that, and it just the theme of it fit me. Twitch RP, their season was coming to an end, and so I took a look at Darkside, and joined up. And I think you were probably one of the first people I ran into.
What?
Yeah.
Dang. Wow. It was me. Wow. So honored. That's cool.
Well, there you go.
That's cool. Um I'm honestly just making up characters now that we're, or not characters, stories or questions or whatever. Sorry. While we talk, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about this." So, um you and I have talked about like religion and philosophy and stuff in the past, sort of very briefly. Um why do you think it's so weird in RP and in Atlas to like bring up and try and like do and stuff?
Because there's a lot of um, judgment around those things. It's really easy, and I'll bring up an example. There, just near the end of the season, there was a Templar group, and they were really playing into that hardcore Christian Templar personality. And I mean, they stepped it back because they realized that they would get themselves in trouble. Starting to call out Muslims and stuff like that. You can't really do that in an RP setting because we're here to have fun. We're not here to create the real division.
Yeah.
Keystone versus Navy is one thing, but if you start trying to play out the Christian versus Muslim versus Jew thing, that's real world. That's really gonna hurt people,
Yeah.
and it's going to inflame feelings. And I think that's the scary part there, is that you're going to cause some real damage and real rifts in the community if you try to do that too hardcore. I think a group that did it really well was probably Eden's Bay. I don't know if you ever got a chance to go down there, but every Sunday he actually held mass. So you could go in there and it would be about a 30-minute long mass. He would give communion. In fact, that second picture I sent you on
Oh,
Discord.
sorry, I didn't include it, but hold on. You keep talking.
Oh, no,
and
that's
I'll
fine.
make it occur.
That's actually what I actually had Alistair leave for home about 2 weeks before the end of the season, and that was the night that he had decided to do so. He was actually at Eden's Bay attending mass.
Gotcha. Hold on, I'm bringing it up. Because I wanted, since you were doing your face, I wanted to be face. I don't. Oh well. You know what? I saved it somewhere.
That's
random.
fine. You don't need to show it.
I don't.
But I mean,
Okay.
my point was though is that basically they it was a Christian church and they'd held Christian mass, but they didn't do it in such a way that it was like we're going to ostracize people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Father, I think it was Father Blackadder is his name. Is that him?
Ah,
I don't
Father.
know.
Yep.
Okay. So we did go there one time. We ran a job on them.
Of course you did.
Because the goal was to be as like really terrible as possible, right? So someone was like, "Yeah, there's a church we could do," and I was like, "Let's freaking do it!" So we went, and I'll just tell you the story because it's brilliant. We went on 2 ships, okay, Jeffrey and I, 2 different companies because we're both in the club, right? So I
Right.
arrived on his ship that he had too many ships in his company, so he gave it to our company. I arrived on it with no crew, no resources, no nothing. He went and checked to see if there were people in town, and then he came back and said, "Yes." I pulled a plank out and we went and took a tour. And then someone ran up to us and said, "Hey, your ship sank in the harbor." And we were like, "What? Oh no, that's terrible." And then they gave us enough planks to build a new ship. They gave us resources to build the ceilings and walls and stuff because our giraffe had just died or something. And like, they gave us all sorts of junk. Yep.
Flutter, I agree. I have to agree there.
Yeah.
They were like the nicest people on the server, and you took advantage of them. That's horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. Get wrecked. But I proved the point with that alone. Like, there are terrible people in the world who do terrible things, and you can't see it until it's already done, you know? So that's like real piracy, man. That's real terrible junk. I felt terrible doing it even while it happened, and I was like, man, this is hilarious and awful, and hilarious and awful. Yeah.
Well, that was the great thing about your character and the group that you had, is that not many people, I think, realized how shitty you all were.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a topic we sort of went over and stuff. I think it's because people are like stuck in the rules and stuff of Atlas. So when someone comes up and says a fake name, even if you know that it's a lie, you're not supposed to say anything, right? Because that's
Right.
meta. So instead of being suspicious, they say, "I'm just going to go with it because I don't want to be accused of meta," right? So we did jobs that normal humans would not have gone along with, I think. So, yeah. And the only reason that Hellsteeds, so Ewok says that I did a bad scam and a bad job. I I sold the Hellsteeds a crow that they already owned. Um, but I did that because I believed that no one would ever look at the litter on the website, right? So I managed to get the crow to land on my ship, and I took it to them, and I wanted them to say, "This is our crow. We're just gonna take it." But instead, they paid me for it, gold, which is so funny. Um, so I played it off as a job, but they played it off as me robbing them. So I don't know. You know, it was
Kind of
very
true on both sides, I
yeah,
guess.
it was very meta, and I only did that because I was trying to be nice, and it's looked at as one of the worst things I've done. But I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
Nice.
unimportant. um, what
To
do you?
be honest, though,
Yeah.
to go back to that question about religion and philosophy and things like that, I think that I wish that that was a little bit more incorporated
Mhm.
in some aspects. It would be neat to see, you know, particularly like secret societies. Like I don't think, and maybe it's just I was never invited to any, but I don't think there's ever been a secret society on Dark Side that I know of, with like actual ritual and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
that would be kind of a concept, but I don't know how well that would work,
Um,
meta and all.
I think I think the club is kind of close because we were from different companies, and we all got together and did terrible junk. But we didn't really have rituals or anything. That's true. Um, I think I told you, or you may remember, that Roscoe wanted to start a group of hermits that were like seeded into different companies. Um, so that could be another way that people could go and do that kind of thing. That would be cool. Uh, May definitely did
Aid,
terrible things.
aiding and abetting alone,
Yeah,
Mishram.
yeah, for sure. Walking through a charity where people are actively getting scammed around you and going, this is fine.
I don't remember you ever warning my character of what was going on. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. What a
Poor
jerk, Dr.
Alistair could have
Mom.
been robbed.
Oh, man. We could have gotten so much out of that guy. I didn't know he had any money.
You were Mark.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Mom was also a mark too, but I thought bringing her in could make more money and stuff. Yeah, she stabbed Jeffrey and charged him 10 gold.
Huh.
um so
Yeah,
yeah.
nothing evil there.
I think I've watched you play, what is it, like Space Engineers or something? Um
Yeah.
that so I don't even understand how it works for RP, right? But what what keeps you coming back to like Dark Side? Why this, even though you have more games and more opportunities to do other places of RP?
Well, I mean, Space Engineers really doesn't have the opportunity for RP. It's mostly just about building stuff. It's like Minecraft in space, really.
Okay.
And I have a minor Factorio addiction, but again, you can't really ARP Factorio. Um, I think one of the things that Atlas does for me that a lot of other games that are could be RP like Atlas don't do, or not Atlas, Arc, for example, or Conan, is the scope of the amount of people you interact with.
Yeah.
You have, in this case, what do we have? 54 grids or something like that.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you're playing on Arc, you're pretty much limited to the number of people that can be in that one server. Whereas in Atlas, you can literally sail across the grid and meet so many new people anytime you go anywhere. And so it was that interaction that never got stale
Yeah.
that I think bring me back to Atlas.
Um, I guess just to let you know if you don't know, and people out there, there are two public servers for Discord for Darkside right now. Um, and the way it works is like there are like teleport type things where you can go from server 1 to server 2. I don't know if that means that in the lore or whatever there's two different arcs and they look the same, because I assume they're built the same. I don't know how it works because I don't like arc, but you could, I guess, do the same thing as going through a shimmer, but you can do it on arc. sort of right now. So heads up, people. um, yeah, I I think I was really surprised with like the types of people that I ran to into first, and then ran into over and over again. Obviously, there's some characters I don't really like, but I mean, pretty much everyone in Darkside, I'm like, yeah, that was a cool thing that just happened, even if it was just, hey, what's going on tonight or something. So,
Well, even the characters that I didn't actually like to interact with, or I didn't really care for as like character to character, like in character, they were all good for the most part as far as like RP. I ran into very few areas where the RP wasn't there, and generally that was with people that were just coming onto the server when there was some advertising push for new.
mhm.
Um, that could get iffy, but for the most part, I never had a bad RP interaction. I mean, they might have been bad RP interactions, but they were in character bad RP interaction,
Yeah.
if that
What
makes sense.
what a good segue. Are you sure you haven't seen these interviews yet? Um,
I haven't.
yeah, one of the questions I've been asking people is like, there are a lot of new players and a lot of people, I guess, reportedly, that aren't super into RPing, aren't really like there to have the interactions that we're looking for. Um, do you have any strategies for playing with characters or with players that you don't really like, or your character doesn't really like?
Well, I think lucky for me is that I tend to I don't really dislike people.
Hmm.
Um, and so it's hard for my character to really dislike other characters, even when they could do a better job at being a character. Um, we had a few situations where we would come up to a group that's just getting started, and they would start talking in wizard talk, as we would call it.
Hmm.
Talking about playing the game.
Yeah.
My friend isn't online right now or stuff like that, and we generally just call them out on in character, like, I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. What are these words you're using? And I
Yeah.
think eventually they would catch on. So I think the big thing is just making sure you don't break your own RP in the process of trying to get other people to RP. And I think that they'll get the picture eventually. And if they don't, the admins will take care of them.
Yeah.
A crow will fly down and shit on them and then ban them.
Yeah, I think I'm really bad at it. I don't like if someone says something, that is definitely about the game or about Discord or something. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to stand here. I don't know. Like I'm not breaking myself, but at the same time, I don't know how to handle it. I'm not very good at it, so I got to work on that. We're not calling people out. Oh, I lost him again. All right. While we wait on him, wait, let me check. Let me do this. All right, nailed it. Oh man, cool. So his camera's trying to update. That's what's happening. So every once in a while, it's apparently like, "Let's update," and he's like, "No, I don't want to update." And then he just closes Discord and starts again. That's really funny. Um, the only time that I've done that sort of thing is when yeah, the landlords, and they were like clearly talking to each other, and I was like, well, this is awkward. Welcome
Hey, we're
back.
back.
Boom. Man, I got this thing. I got it on now. I'm ready. Nobody knows about what happened before we started.
So again, and I'll explain it. What happened there is that Logitech has that chroma thing where it's like tries to get rid of your background, and for some reason it keeps switching, or Discord keeps trying to switch to it, and then it keeps trying to update, which then turns off the camera. So I don't know.
It's happening behind me right now.
Fair enough.
Actually, I think it's OBS. Now that we're talking about it, it's definitely OBS. So I don't know if I've ever looked at my camera settings. Okay. Speaking of, man, what a good segue. When So you watch a lot of streams that I do not watch. And you've seen a lot of RP that I've never done. Um, you got any like suggestions from really good streamers, like legit streamers that you like their interactions, or you like their stream, or you like their RP or whatever, for us small timers, or that you've taken into your own stream when you stream?
Well, first off, I rarely ever stream, um, and when I do stream, I am very, very bad at being a streamer, which is why I'll never actually be a streamer, and I have no intent to. So, um,
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be keeping my day job. It's usually just because I want to have a little extra interaction,
Yeah.
and usually it's not there because I stream so infrequently. That
Sorry,
said,
that's
I,
my
I
bad.
guess my advice would be maybe stream more.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you stream a lot and you do a good job, but
Uh,
that's the big thing I think is consistency for those that are trying to consistency and interacting with your crowd in a genuine way.
yeah, that's a good point. Um,
People can tell if you're not being genuine.
when I started, um, the I I don't know if I'm. It doesn't matter. I know this guy who was an OG on Justin TV, like way back in the day. Um, and they had like a big following and stuff like that. And I asked him, I was like, do you have any tips or whatever to streaming? And he said that you have to um create a character and then like stick with it and like be that persona and that character and push it and stuff. And I was like, I don't think that's what we're doing anymore. That might have been just in TV stuff, but I don't know if we're doing that. And I don't know, I just can't do it. This like this is me.
I mean, there's clearly some popular streamers out there that you can tell are
Oh yeah.
playing a role, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you're going to be taking streaming to a serious place in your life, you have to play the game, I suppose.
Yeah, true.
Poor Shrimpkin is getting torn apart in chat, and it's hilarious.
I think it's GOG that's getting torn apart.
Fair.
Goodbye, GOG. We hardly knew you.
But here's the thing: is that she goes, "I'm an angry gamer, no streaming for me."
Yeah.
But honestly, that might be entertaining to watch, so maybe you should try.
There are a lot of angry streamers and angry YouTubers, and people love that junk. So,
People want drama.
yeah.
I mean, when I stream, I'm very boring. I create no drama. I don't interact well, but people want that drama. They want to see someone kind of, you know, being a little eccentric.
Yeah. They want to see
You know,
people bad mouthing the Navy, apparently. That's what I learned.
well, yeah,
I instituted, how we get like points or whatever now for chat or for watching or whatever it is. I
I
put a
vaguely know about that.
I put a reward in my freaking chat to badmouth the Navy for an amount of points, and like 2 days after I put it in, what was it, like 12 or something in a row, just like that. And I literally had to RP just like hate for the Navy over and over and over. It was pretty funny. But I mean, we can all agree to hate the Navy. No offense, Praeceptor, because the Navy is cold-hearted and cruel, and they don't care about innocent schooner enthusiasts. And also, they have terrible uniforms. Boom, we did it.
I have to say, there were actually people at the trade dock. You usually just had to wait at least an hour and shoot at least 50 green flares. You just had to be persistent about it.
They exist, huh? Sure,
They did
sure.
exist.
Hey, speaking of, when I pretended to be a Navy person and you gave me whatever info it was, and then I tried to use it immediately, who was I even talking to?
So that was Amanda, who was was one of my company members. She was actually the leader of the company I was in. And when the war with Keystone started, her and one of the other members joined up with the Navy to help with the fight, and I had stayed
Oh.
behind to basically take care of the everything we had, and then they were eventually going to come back. But as the
Oh.
season was coming to an end, that kind of just all fell apart. But yeah, no.
Hmm.
So what was hilarious is that she knew you were full of shit because she knew me very well. So
Man,
she basically entertained you. So it was really hilarious to watch.
yeah, that was one of the only times when I was like, I gotta stop talking, but I was already in it and I couldn't. And I just had to keep going, like, yeah, this is for real. This is for real. I gotta escape, you know? Oh man. Yeah, I
No,
didn't
that was good.
I tried to set up things like that with other companies, but I just didn't know enough to do it, and it happened to work out sort of organically with you, and it was really funny. So yeah. Thanks for not metaing me.
No, no, it was hilarious. I did call you a jerk in Discord
Right.
to her after I watched the video. But
Right. Sorry. That's my bad. Um uh what do you think man, okay, so you haven't seen the other interviews. So, what do you think is um a way that we as our peers and gamers and part of the community, what is a good way or ways that you enjoy for us to show other people that we appreciate the time that they give us, we appreciate that they're interacting with us and hanging out with us. um how do we show appreciation, or should we, I guess?
are you talking about other people that we're interacting with in game? Or are you talking about like the server administrators and
Not really the
owners of the
admins,
servers?
like,
I mean, yeah, no one really wants to show appreciation to them. They just
yeah, I
shit on
mean, we're just gonna
crow.
shoot every crow we see, and yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, just other players, because um there are people that really want to hang out with you and like spend time with you and stuff like that. What are things that they do that make you think that or feel that or happy or whatever?
That's hard for me to answer because I'm always trying to avoid people. So,
Yeah.
um, no, I think honestly, just being sincere and making sure that your interactions are decent, even when they're in character, conflicts, just always showing respect. Um, I don't know. I think that a lot of out of character hate can sometimes happen because people take their characters a bit too personal, um, because they are part of you. As much as you want to avoid it, every character that you create, even Pierre, certainly Pierre, is a part of you.
Certainly.
So I
um
mean, it's hard not to take offense, but I think I guess the big thing is just making sure that you're reaching out to people. If you're having a conflict, to reach out to them to let them know on the back end that hey, this isn't personal. This is just character stuff.
yeah, that's what every single other person has said. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I know you didn't. That's why I asked. Everyone is like, it means so much when someone messages you and says, "Man, that was really fun," or "Ah, you're so funny," or whatever. And apparently we as a community just aren't doing that enough. We're not telling people we appreciate them enough. So everyone should do
No,
that.
we're not good at it, and I experienced that too. When we had that fallout with the group I was in, it was really difficult for me to tell whether the actions of the character were truly reflecting just the actions of the character, or if there was an out of character issue there. And I was kind of on the outskirts of all that because I wasn't the center of that focus, but it was hard for me to tell if those other people were really angry at each other
Yeah.
or not. And it turns out they were out of character angry at each other, which made it even worse, I think.
Okay. Yeah, when I was Boxster and I would lose everything and I would be at the free port again building a new ship
So
again
every day,
every
essentially.
day, man. For like a long stretch, yeah. You would just show up and be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And it wasn't like a "Hey, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna take care of you," even though that did happen once or twice. But like that was one way that like I felt appreciated and that you wanted to hang out with me and Croc, because you didn't have to, like, you were doing trade with other people in other places. You didn't have to stop on that little section of beach, right? But you did stop and you were like, "What's up? Oh, you're fine. Cool. Yeah. Anything? Yeah. Okay, cool." And then you would go on, and like that was dope, man. So I appreciate stuff like that too. Um
The god of gaming. That's because Boxster never really left the free port. He would get, maybe a grid away and then sink and then, start over.
oh man, poor Boxster. Ah, jeez.
Until
Hey,
he turned pirate and threatened my character. And then my character fled only to be chased down by pirates and shot, and that's when I permaned my character. So
I
my
didn't.
character, Edward Drake, died thinking that Boxster had betrayed him and set his pirate friends after him.
It was my bad. I'm so sorry. Oh man.
The timing was perfect. I couldn't not perma at that point.
Man.
I tried to flee. I was in a galleon, so I could have easily outrun this brig, and but they had sniped me before I could get up to full speed. I was like, you know what? I just left this interaction with Boxster where he made Edward feel really uncomfortable and really kind of scared for his life, unintentionally, I think. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I get chased down by a black sailed ship, and I get shot at. And it was like, this is perfect. This is the dramatic end to Edward Drake.
Man. Yeah, that whole thing, man. And then you like came, because we kind of knew, and then you came and like told us, "Hey, this happened," and then I had to play Boxster's entire birthday with the knowledge that there was a galleon sitting where we could even see it the whole time. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was worth it. That was some real junk, man. Like, that was good.
It was
Uh,
entertaining to watch the fallout of that as well. When you
yeah,
sailed around in that galleon for almost the rest of the season.
I know. And immediately after that is one of my favorite clips when I do the knock knock joke on Elizabeth. That makes me laugh so much every time I see it. Oh man, because I was
I remember
trapped.
watching that live. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I was trapped inside and she was outside hacking the door down, and I started doing knock knock jokes from the inside because I didn't have any tools. Oh man, she was so mad.
That interaction was wonderful to
Yeah.
watch.
Oh, also, as a schooner enthusiast, personally, why do you keep going with these galleons?
So this season I did have a galleon.
Yeah,
I
and last
was
season and season before
I
that.
think I was the third one to buy a galleon from the company failed. I don't even remember who they were, but I actually decided not to continue with galleons the rest of the season. So the biggest ship I had the rest of the season after I had given all my stuff to Freehaven was a brig.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I did have a schooner for about a week.
Yeah,
It
and then you
conveniently
sank
got
it.
sunk before I met your character.
And then you sank it and you showed up at the scooter club. We could have we could have used you so much. Mm,
I don't know that Alistair probably. I don't think he would have went along with the scamming
I
once he got him,
know, but
especially considering the fact that he was already, trying to get more information about what was going on after you had mentioned, smuggling.
I that wasn't even my job. I was just trying to work for the press at that point. I would have sold him out in a heartbeat. Um
I think
uh
he's in chat. You better be careful.
he's not in chat. He
Oh no.
is probably I don't know even how to say that appropriately. He's probably playing the Dong game somewhere right now, but that's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that guy. Um so speaking of like all this like deep stuff that we did and the lighthearted stuff we did, um, and all the experiences you've had without us even, what do you think the balance should be between realism and the fun of playing a game when we're RPing?
Part of me really enjoys realism. Like really, and like I love the idea of having a very realistic environment. Which, but the truth of the matter is, if you have mechanics in such a way that it's so realistic that it actually turns into work, it's just not. I think there has to, and I think the balance that was struck this season, especially for the traders, with having things like the pallets, so that you didn't actually have to do as much, work to actually do your RP was great, and I hope that they continue in that direction. A game's a game. It needs to be a platform for the other things that you want to enjoy. It's especially
Yeah,
I'm okay with breaking from realism on certain things.
yeah, yeah. Um, so okay, you bring up the pallets. You clearly remember them. We don't because we didn't do any work. How did you feel about the mods and all the changes that came along with them?
Pallets were a point of contention, I think, mid season. After he who shall not be named was cast from the pantheon of Atlas DarksideRP. um, I actually preferred the pallets as they were when they were originally put into uh, when uh, what's his name was removed. There was a new version of palette that came out. It was still good and it still had its benefits, but it seemed like it was a step back. But overall, the one of the biggest struggles is doing trader RP in the previous season was the fact that you had to literally spend so much time just moving stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, you had to basically hand unload everything. And if you did have animals, you're still going back and forth 100 times. And people would want to do trades of like 100,000, metal. Well, how the hell do you do that by hand unless you have a company of 30 people dedicated to moving stuff constantly?
yeah.
So I think that was probably one of the best things that they added, in my opinion, to the season was the pallets. And
Mm,
then when they kind of pulled back on they pulled back on them for legitimate reasons,
mhm.
and it was because of how they were being used in combat to basically min max ships, and I get that, but I think they need to find another method for that next season, and I'm sure they're working. I actually have full. When I first came to Darkside, I had my concerns with what I saw, but it was what I was seeing were growing pains, and they've done a phenomenal job. I'm fully behind the direction they're taking things.
Yeah, me too. Also, when we did the church job, they set us up a pallet. Um, but I had not done any work, like to the point that I had never used a pallet. And so they set us up a pallet for all the stuff they were giving us, and I didn't know how to use it. So I hand carried all the stuff that I reclaimed from the ship because I didn't know what to do with it, you know? So uh I guess the pallets were good. We talked a lot about the way that you could see ships in the distance and stuff like that, being game changing. Um,
Yeah, that added a lot. It was entertaining because people would always try to read what they were seeing. The fact is that all the animations were the same, but people would be like, "Oh, I think that's a black sailed ship," or "Look at that sail
yeah,
configuration." It's always that sail configuration, and you're not going to see if it's black sail. But it was entertaining. It added a lot of value just because you knew what was actually around you in the grid. You knew that there were other ships out there, and you could approach them, or you could try to avoid them, or you could tell if they were coming at you at least.
yeah. Do you think it made it more tense for people who were staying in one place, like so a pirate or a privateer company in one place sees a ship moving past versus coming at them or whatever. Do you think it made them like worry and draw conclusions and all the stuff that you would normally do, because you didn't know if it was a pirate or the navy or whoever coming to see you?
Well, I can't really speak for. I was in Bastion as another character for like the last week and a half. So that was my first interaction with a large group. Um, so yeah, I mean, because we would if we saw ships out in the distance, we would look for patterns. If we saw a galleon with a brig, more than likely that was Keystone.
Hmm.
So you would pay attention to what you're seeing to make sure you're not about to be attacked, essentially. And I could see where that would definitely add to the element of suspense to a lot of people. And
Yeah.
even as a generally solo or in a small company, if you're out on a ship with you and like two other people, or even you by yourself, and you see two rigs off in the distance in tandem, the likelihood is it's probably not going to be the Navy because the Navy never patrolled anyone. More than likely, it was going to be pirates coming after you.
Yeah. Agree. Also, you could badmouth the Navy for free. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: is that the Navy near the end of the season got dragged into the war with Keystone and basically gave up interacting with in a lot of ways with anyone outside of that particular set of events.
Yeah.
And so they were already hard to find in the beginning. I never saw the Navy in D6 when I lived there, and I lived there for a long time under two different groups. Um, and I saw the Navy when I lived in A4, maybe a total of 3 times. And one time that I saw them, I was actually fleeing from pirates, and I told them that I had saw pirates, and they're like, "Oh, okay," and they didn't bother chasing. So, so, so it was like, okay, well, glad we saw each other.
Yeah. Okay. The Navy. Do you think though that the more I watch the Navy from the outside and the more I'm angry at the way the Navy works, in and out of character or whatever it is, um do you think it's working like it do you do you think the group's actions are the way they should be and the way they would work in the real world? Like if if a country goes to war against another country or a big group or something like that, right? They sort of put all their resources into that and they don't really do other stuff like there might be less trading or less whatever. Do you think that's like normal?
Well, I mean, first off, I mean, in the real world, the Navy didn't really do trading, right?
Yeah.
So the trade port wouldn't be a thing. The Navy might have, a dockyard or something like that in a town that has a trade port, but it wouldn't be controlled. Um, so that whole aspect of the Navy in the server was basically just to give a point of interaction for people, and I think it was a very good idea.
Yeah.
I don't have any hate for the Navy from this season. I interacted with them a fair bit. I mean, we even had Darla as a guest to our home for a week. I went treasure hunting with her.
That's
So
cool.
they were. It's the problem for the Navy. I think is that the grids were there were too many grids, and they tried to at the beginning restrict what the sailors could do, and so they could only go out with captains, and so it prevented a lot of interaction that could happen in the beginning, and then in the near the end when they started to shift those policies and they allowed sailors to group up and take ships out. By that point, they were in the conflicts,
Yeah.
that the privateers had brought onto them.
Yeah.
So I don't have any hate for them. I think that the way that the Navy was handled this season was great. I think the problem was is that people expected too much from the Navy,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
It's interesting that we're like even talking about this. I personally don't really hate the Navy. I just think it's fun to do or whatever. But a lot of people, a lot of old timers, I've seen them say, "Yeah, we're gonna try the Navy next season." Whether they do or not, I don't know. But if if the Navy seems so restrictive and so odd and so I don't know, whatever it is, why do you think all these people are considering going through the Navy?
Well, I don't think it was really as restrictive as it seems. I mean, as far as like what you can do as you have to follow the rules of the Navy, right? If you're a sailor, you have to follow the command structure and things like that. But you can still have phenomenal RP in there. If you were watching Navy RP, I mean, it was basically a frat house.
Yeah.
Um, it was every person in the Navy chasing the tail of every other person, which was hilarious in its own. Um, I don't know. I didn't have an issue with the way the Navy was handled. I joke a lot about how I never saw Navy ships, but the reality is you probably wouldn't have seen a lot of Navy ships in real life either.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the islands, the Navy presence there was not heavily established, and most of the work that was done through the Royal Navy was done through privateers.
Yeah.
So I didn't have an issue.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've actually thought about going Navy next season as well, but I don't know that I will.
Sounds familiar.
Well, the funny thing is that Alistair actually had attempted to join the Navy 3 times, and every time that he would get almost to the Navy, something would pull him away from it and distract him RP wise, and I'd end up with another group or doing it.
Yeah.
So,
do you think so? You do the Irish that you attempted to learn, Irish Scottish. We'll call it a blend, because I can't tell. Do you think it's easier to be more dramatic and more intense if you're not doing a voice, or not more intense? Do you think it's easier to show more emotion with your actual voice?
I don't know, because I've never actually tried to RP in my actual voice.
Yeah.
I mean, Edward was almost English, I guess. Alistair was almost Irish, I guess. And then my second character this season, which was Owen Quinn, he was basically the same voice as Alistair. I just wanted to restart a fresh RP in a privateer group. So,
I'm not gonna write Owen Quinn because I don't know how to spell it and I don't want to get it wrong again. That would be awkward.
That's fine. And yeah, I don't know. And then I tried Olaf.
Yeah.
I'm sure Flutter remembers Olaf.
I liked Olaf.
Olaf, that was a hard voice for me to do, and I did it horribly. And I'm pretty sure sometimes I sounded like I was South African. Sometimes I might have sounded Scandinavian, but I'm really not sure what it was, to be honest.
Why did he have such small feet?
I don't know. I didn't notice that during character creation.
Man, I think that the conflict between him and Croc, even though it was short lived and it didn't go anywhere and stuff, like, that was really fun, and it was my first like real chance to be in the middle of a conflict that I didn't know where to go with, and I didn't know who to agree with, and I was in the middle. That was some cool junk.
Apparently, PETA, after I went and talked to them about Croc, and they had convinced me not to kill Croc, and that I should try to capture and release Croc into his native environment, which I was trying to figure out what was. They had created a holding cell in case I brought Croc back. And I didn't find this out until I was in chat on someone else's stream about 2 weeks ago, and the lady from PETA was in there, and we were talking about it.
Oh, man. Can you imagine PETA holding Croc, like, in some cell, some dungeon, waiting to release him? Oh, man.
Right. Well, the problem is I could have never caught Croc because he had too many people that liked him.
Yeah.
I mean, anywhere I went, if I tried any conflict with them, it was like a swarm of people coming after me.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I shot at him a lot, but I never shot to kill. I never actually shot to hit.
Yeah. He definitely stabbed you, though.
Yes, he did.
He definitely stabbed
I don't think he realized I was not going to actually hurt him.
Yeah.
And he definitely got defensive.
Yeah, he played that for real. He was ready to protect himself, so, yeah.
And that was actually at Elizabeth's house when she was living on that tiny island just down there. That's where Olaf first met Croc.
Yeah. She was asleep, I think, inside, and you guys were like battling over islands outside. No, they weren't the strawberries, though. They weren't the strawberries.
No, I didn't hurt your strawberries. I bought your alcohol.
Yeah. So you know Boxster pretty well, or knew, or whatever. I don't know, but this person named CG14 told me that hey, he might be like limiting RP and stuff. What do you think limits RP in like situations, and how can we avoid that?
I guess I would have to hear what he means by limiting RP. That would be
Well,
my question.
um, so you know how Boxster was, I guess early on, maybe you remember, but I would I would try and draw out the awkwardness and the quiet and the because he didn't care. So um he didn't say a whole lot and he didn't say it very fast and he was cool with just being silent, right?
Right.
But this is a voice RP situation. If you don't say anything, um, there's nothing for someone else to say unless they're so good that they could fill in for you. I think that's the point that they were making. And Boxster, there were a lot of times where I was standing silent and a person was standing in front of me silent and I didn't say anything. You know?
Or you would silently sneak up behind people and they would shoot you.
Well, I
Um,
mean, true, but in that case, I was moving and whispering and stuff, and then they would shoot me. Yeah.
it's hard for me to make a judgment call there because I had actually spent a lot of time with boxers, so I had a lot of interaction there. So yeah, there were moments of awkwardness, but they were great because I knew why, I
Yeah.
guess. And I could see where if it was just a short interaction, that could be kind of weird. But I guess you kind of at some point you have to trust the other person's being genuine in their RP and they're not just trying to moment. And it's up to them to respond to that RP. I mean, they can talk. There's no reason that they can't say anything. I'm pretty sure that Edward said a lot of stuff to Boxer that never got a response or just got a weird response.
Yeah.
I
I think so. Yeah.
mean, yeah, this is a voice RP. I mean, sure, but you still have a digital representation of a character. There still is that visual aspect of it. And in real life, there's going to be awkward situations where there's not talking. It's not like you were trying to RP a mute, right?
Yeah.
Um, so no, I didn't have an issue, and I don't. I think if another person has an issue with that type of RP, it's really just their inability to come up with a way to interact with it. I mean, we actually in Freehaven there was a child that didn't speak at all, except make noises, and people could say, "Oh, they're limiting RP." But if anyone was at Freehaven, they probably remember Samuel because it was kind of a weird, weird character, you know.
Yeah. A lot of us know Sammy actually,
Yeah.
um, because Sammy's been Sammy for a long time. Yeah. Um, did you meet Sammy at the Freeport with the Stone Goddesses when you and I were hanging out as Edward? Because he was there.
Oh wow! Now that you mention it, I think I do remember him there, and it never clicked for me.
Yep, that's the
It
same
never clicked.
person. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
He also briefly joined the Knights of the Rifle. Yep.
Hmm. Fair enough.
Sammy's
Um,
famous. Yeah.
well, and I think Shrimpkin brings up a good point. Is that when you first met Boxster, it was really hard to figure out how to approach that RP, but it became very endearing for those that actually put the effort into it. And so it's up to the person to put the effort on the other side.
Okay.
Yeah, Sammy was kind of a little shit, from what I remember, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but still famous. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
Right, right.
Um, uh, ooh,
I'm a little nervous by that facial expression.
I,
You're searching for a question.
man, we hit a lot of questions like really fast. I'm surprised. Because I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll scroll down to these. I've already asked those. Um, hmm. What else do we want to know from? Come on, chat. Oh, we talked about like bringing family and stuff into RP, into the games, into stuff like that. Um, you have any experience like bringing your friends in, bringing, I don't know, anyone from the outside and going, look, trust me, just do a voice or stand next to me or whatever and let's
Hey!
play?
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Wait,
whoa,
wait,
whoa,
hold on.
whoa, whoa, whoa!
Hold on, hold
Holy
on, hold on.
snap! Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Anonymous, for gifting
much.
Fritz a sub. It's very nice of you.
What's suspicious though is because last time there was an anonymous person, I thought we could pinpoint who it was, and this time I don't think we can because I don't know enough. Thank you, random person.
But to answer your question, I have had no luck. I've tried getting 2 people that I know offline to give it a try.
Yeah.
One of them just doesn't have the time and doesn't have a computer capable of running the game at that level. The other one, I don't know actually in person. This is someone that I've played games with for a while,
Yeah.
and he didn't want to play on Atlas and RP because he had to use his voice,
Yeah, I got you.
which I didn't understand. I tried to get my significant other to join. I bought her the game and all that stuff, but I have yet to succeed in doing. But I'm hoping for the next season that I can get her to join.
Yeah, that would be
But
cool.
no, I've had zero luck getting on.
I don't know why, but it's so weird to like approach to people, I think. You know, it's like, hey, I do this thing, we play this game, but it's different than just playing games because you're a character and stuff. I don't know.
See, and that's the thing for me is that I'm a very private person. You know, I'm not like antisocial at work, but no one knows that I RP on Atlas at. You know, I work in a wood shop. I work in the office, but I work in a wood shop environment, factory environment. I don't think a lot of people would appreciate my choice of entertainment when I come home after the end of the day. So, aside from a few friends that I have left over from high school and stuff like that, I don't know that there would be a lot of people that I could pull into it.
Yeah.
There are a few. But the big thing is that a lot of people just don't have the equipment to do it that I
Yeah.
know. You know, they might have a tablet or they might have a computer, but it's outdated, or they have a console and they can't join because of that.
Well, so I mean, I agree with you 100%, and it is really weird and all of that stuff. But against my better judgment, in my last job, which was in a warehouse ish, um, I wound up telling them that, you know, like I play this game and it's a pirate game, and you know, there's like, oh yeah, pirate game, okay, I get that. And these are like older people who don't really play games and stuff like that. And like, I guess they were kind of cool or something. I'm not really sure, but I actually told them like, yeah, I RP this Eeyore kind of character, and this is the stuff we got into this weekend. And they sort of like made jokes or whatever, but they consistently would come and be like, hey, what'd you do this weekend on your silly Eeyore thing or whatever. And so over time I told them like all sorts of junk about like pirating and on the galleon and all sorts of stuff, and like eventually was showing them clips. So maybe they'll get there one day, is all I'm saying, you know. Maybe we can get our
Maybe.
coworkers and stuff in. Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at the state of role playing in general. I don't know. I don't even know how old you are, but I'm getting to be, you know, older. um, when I was in grade school and I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, the thought of sharing the fact that I'm spending an evening RPing with people, with the general populace, would have been frightening.
Yeah.
But now you have things like Critical Role and all of the other influences that are making it mainstream.
Yeah.
and it's amazing the crowd that it's bringing in that would have never even thought to consider it before.
Yeah. The people like Shroud and Summit and Kitboga, these people with tens of thousands of viewers going into GTA, going into Sea of Thieves and like RPing, that's crazy. I can't believe that's happening.
Right.
And those are the people who are bringing us like more and more people, like that's gateway stuff right there. They're coming
Right.
is all I'm saying. Yeah, it's cool. They're also mostly in GTA for the record, I think, because of how easy it is to transfer from your real life to a realistic life. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I could see that.
but yeah, I appreciate those people, and I appreciate all of you. By the way, you and you and
Uh,
you.
just remember the last character that he played. You might want to take his appreciation with a grain of salt. He's probably leading you into some sort of trap where you're going to
Ah
give him something.
man.
Like next thing he's going to be asking for a sub or something.
I'm not asking for any subs or any money because Twitch Prime is free, and every month you get one free sub to the streamer of your choice. No, but for the record, Pierre was I work in a place with I work in a place where I can see these things that are really happening to real people, and it's not like really fake like what the Navy is putting out, and it's not like scamming people with coffee beans and the Navy is stupid. No, it's real. But I wanted I wanted to so like Kip Boga is a huge streamer who's like calling scammers and stuff, right? That's real, and he's like bringing such information to people. And when I tell my mom like, "Hey, this is a real thing that can happen," and she says, "Yeah, I've seen emails like that. I get calls like that." Like that's real junk, right? So I wanted with Pierre to do the same sort of things that I see a lot of and that are happening more and more because technology is easy, but I wanted to try and do them where there was no technology, and that was the challenge. So yeah, that's
I think
what
you did a very good job of it, considering the limitations that were facing you.
yeah. Shrimps, I met Shrimps, and she told me to go see Pieces of Eight, which wasn't really Pieces of Eight. It was a Lady Nari's breeding company. But on the way there, I forged a document with her signature that said, "Hey, this is a guy who needs help. He was just pirated. Give him discounts. Give him anything you can. I'm speaking for him." And then I signed her name, right? That's real stuff. Like, people do that junk all the time. So that's where I started, like I wanted to show people that you don't have to be on your phone, you don't have to click something in your email, none of that stuff. People can get you anywhere if you're not paying attention. That's all I was trying to do,
Trust me, I worked retention for one of the top 3 largest telecommunication cable TV companies. I can tell you all sorts about scamming.
Yeah. Okay, man. You're the
I did
guy
that for 8 years.
You're the guy who gives us discounts that we could have had the whole time just to keep us. Wow.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Thank
you for all of your commission money.
Dang it, it's real. Yeah, man. Like, I don't know. I just think you and your worldview and everything are really good and really smart, and I have enjoyed all the time we spent playing together. So I don't really have any more questions, but we could just chill. I don't have another one. So
fair enough. I was honestly surprised at how long it actually took us to meet this season in character.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it was just because I ended up in the southern regions and you were up in the northern regions mostly, or what. But I purposely looked for your flyers out of character, and the one time that I found it, I forgot about it by the next day. So,
Oh man. I so sorry, company members. I only advertised on one run. Um, the rest of it, I said let's do it, but it was just a scam. I never did it except for one time. Sorry. If you saw a notice, you put it there. I didn't. um, but I in the beginning, like I talk about the mods and stuff, but the mods were really taxing or something was going on and I could not get into the server. And so I would spend like 8 tries, and if it didn't work in 8 tries, I was out. Or if I maxed out over an hour, I was out and I just wasn't going to play that night. Um and so we built the bar and stuff, and then it was a struggle just to do that. The first stream that I had this season, something was happening and it was awful. It's super laggy and all sorts of junk. So,
I remember
um,
that actually. You were really struggling there.
but I literally did not change a single thing, and I started a stream again to try and test it, and there were no more issues. So
Hmm.
I don't know what was happening, honestly. Um, but I had a lot of struggles throughout the beginning of the season just trying to get in, and a lot of us have talked about how if it were easier to get into the game, people might be more fine with the bugs that happen, because you're not spending 20 minutes, 30 minutes just trying to get in, and then you log in and then a bug makes you lose all your junk. Like, that sucks.
And if I remember correctly, it really wasn't just you having that issue. There were a lot of people complaining in the Discord
Yeah.
near the beginning of the season with issues getting into the game.
Yeah.
And to some extent throughout the entire season, but it was really bad at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the weak points of Atlas is that they don't have a really good joining system. It doesn't really give you a lot of information, so
Yeah.
you know you don't really know how to respond to what's happening in front of you, or
Right.
how to. If you've played Atlas long enough, you know when to just wait and when to restart it, and you can get in. I didn't have hardly any connection issues the entire season,
Yeah.
but I know a lot of people did.
Yeah,
But the
the
voice
voice
issues.
issues, yeah. Um that actually changed what I was trying to do with the club. Um because we were originally supposed to have individual sounds for our ships. Like the hearts were supposed to be like revving engines and stuff, and we were going to yell them. But you couldn't predict who could hear you. You couldn't predict how loud you were. And most importantly, you couldn't predict if you sounded like you were talking or like that.
Right.
That's awful junk to hear while you're having a conversation. So we just didn't do that.
And I know that hurt a lot of really good RP in a lot of places.
Yeah.
I think that the worst where I saw it affect was probably Ladies' Night.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they literally, if anyone talked at all during the show, it would ruin the audio for everyone.
Yeah.
And you always have people in real life or in RP that don't get it
Yeah.
and will continue to do the things that they shouldn't. Um, I kind of felt bad for the people that did Ladies' Night because of the voice over IP this season. It was horrendous.
Yeah. That's a good point, though. We went to Ladies' Night one time, and Zvi was talking in the middle, and I was way at the back because I was trying to get a good view. I think you showed up too, maybe. Someone did, and I heard a voice. Anyway, it doesn't matter. And I yelled at Zvi because he was talking super loud, but he wasn't. I could just hear him whispering from like so far away because voice was broken all around Ladies' Night, like everywhere. So
Mhm.
yeah, that was crazy stuff.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I as in real life, as an RP, I'm not so fond of being in big crowds,
Yeah.
because you can't really have the intimate interactions that you can in a small group. Like if I go out to a bar, I want to go with one or two people, and I want it to be in a small, quiet place. Um, and Ladies Night was already overcrowded, and it was already a lot going on, and to have all those voice over IP issues, it was just somewhat overwhelming.
Yeah.
Near the end of the season, the last 3 or 4 weeks, um, they were not having the show that they normally did. I mean, there would be like 50 people in the grid for Ladies Night, and that wasn't seen in
Yeah.
any other, season. So that was. We can blame consoles for that. So if you are a console gamer, I just want you to know that you are a shitty person, and you should probably sell it or throw it out the window or drive over it with your car.
You heard it here first. Wow. Coming down on the side of PC. Wow. Whew.
Always.
Whew. Hot takes right here. That's what this channel's known for, honestly. I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, Shelter brought up the way that people queue for a long time to play the games. And so what people will do is wake up and hit the queue button and then go to work and come back and hope they could get in. That's crazy. Crazy.
And I think Shrimp has she's right. I mean, it was Grape Shot's decision to go with the voice over IP system that they did.
Yeah.
I think that did have something to do with the requirements for the crossplay that they had incorporated for Atlas official, where Xbox and all of them could go together with PC. But I don't know the details.
I don't know anything about it, so you guys are welcome to talk, but I don't know.
So again, it was the fault of the console players. And
I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Yeah. I have a Switch. Yeah.
I think the last console that I ever had was a Super Nintendo. And then I saw the errors of my ways, and
I still have 2 Super Nintendos. I don't play because I can't handle graphics, I guess, or colors or something. I don't know. But yeah.
Depends on the game, I suppose.
Yeah, for sure.
To this day, I still have very fond memories of Zelda on NES.
Yeah.
Wow. You might be too young for that one.
I've played it in its original form, okay, for the record.
In the golden cartridge?
Yes. Yes. All of my main like gaming and stuff when I got into it was on PlayStation and PlayStation 2. So the days of Final Fantasy 7 and stuff. But I also played Final Fantasy 1, so, Yeah.
Fair enough.
I just can't go back.
So what about you? What are the other games that you play? Turn this around a bit.
I think I don't know. I think I'm chasing something that I can't get. And so I'm just like constantly looking for what it is. Because back when I played WoW, I played with a ton of people who showed up every day all the time, and like we knew each other and we showed up and like did stuff, right? So I think I'm looking for games that are like that, and I can't find them. But since I have, friends like you and Shrimps and Ewok and all these people who have said their names right there, not Guild Wars 2. Oh my gosh, it's completely different, but it's also the same. You don't understand. Anyway, I don't know. I'm looking for, some group kind of game that No. I'm not looking for a group game. I'm looking for like multiplayer experiences that I could just hang with these random people and have fun with. So that's why I'm in RP. That's why I can't stop. And that's why I'm trying to branch out into other games with like these random people. Yeah. But also, sorry. Warcraft 3 Reforged released. That's the kind of game I like if I'm just gonna play for 6 hours by myself. I want to build like a big army and roll it around a map and stuff.
So real-time strategy type.
Yeah, man. If Kessin existed in something else, I would play Kessen all the time because I love that game. Yep.
I don't even know what that is.
Kessen is the the like I think it's Chinese three kingdom kind of setting.
Okay.
So it's that, but Kessen had all these stages where you would set up with an army and you could control all the armies and run them at each other. It's a lot like Total War. The only problem is with Total War, you have to play civilizations in order to get to the Kessen-esque experience, and I hate civilizations so much. So, yeah. Ugh.
So see, there's where we differ, because one of my favorite games was Civilization 2.
How? I don't understand. Like, you start out as a character, right? And you have one town or whatever, and you're the queen of Egypt, okay? And you have Cairo, and then you want to move into the next sector, and then you spend like 18 turns making a warrior, and it's been like an hour and you haven't done anything. Oh my gosh.
There's some truth to that. I mean, there's settings that you can do to speed up the game. But, I mean, one of my favorite board games of all time was Risk. So, I mean, if that says anything, that's like a 8-hour minimum game. So
I'm here to lose at some Risk. I will lose over and over and over. Yeah.
Turtle in Australia and hope that the rest of them don't win.
I don't even have enough strategy to even make it to Australia. Like, we're talking about there's a game called Tabletop Sim, and I'm trying to like, have like a little group of people who play board games, because I have like hundreds of board games that I know how to play already in real life, and people have made them in the game, right? So I could just teach people real quick how to play, and then we could play together. But if you found a game like Risk, I just cannot do it. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what the strategy is, and I just lose over and over.
So what board games do you like?
Man, I like so the one that we tested, or I tested to make sure it works, it's called Suro, or The Game of the Path. I also like Small World. It is like Risk, but it's real fast. Like you in Small World, you have a faction of like skeletons or something, and you build up your civilization, but at any time you can sort of perma them and gain a benefit for your next faction. These are not games like Magic cards. Oh my gosh, who are you? I like Magic. I like if you've ever seen it, the WoW trading card game, the Warcraft trading card game. Yeah.
Nope.
And then I guess gateway board games are fine, like Munchkin, Spot It, Aquarius, like that. Yeah.
I've heard of Munchkin. I haven't heard of the rest.
Okay. Well, hey, you got board games over there?
No, not really.
Well, okay.
No, I have some friends that own a whole bunch of board games.
Yeah.
They'd probably know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But I used to play Magic the Gathering.
You know what? Now that I think of it,
like 15 years ago.
Risk is a lot like standing around on the Navy docks, right? You really want to get stuff done, but you're just waiting on everyone else to do whatever it is, because the Navy is so slow. Thank you, Shelter.
Look, you just needed to know the right people to get a reaction. That's all.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people who don't understand that board games have had this huge resurgence, right? And that there are so many new ones that you just, like, if you didn't look, you don't know they're there. But since I've played a bunch of them, and apparently several of us have also, we can teach each other and like play and stuff. So that's really cool. And I think we should do that. I also think if anyone is worried about inviting people to play a game, you should just do it, because like If they say no, you could just ask someone else, or I don't know, play by yourself or whatever. But they might say yes, you know.
True. Now, Shrimpkin is talking about this mythical place called Outside, and I
Yeah.
remember as a child doing that as well. It
Yeah.
was an interesting experience.
Huh.
Um, I don't get out there much anymore. I have to,
Yeah.
but I do remember um, airsoft and paintball.
Huh.
I don't know if you ever played those growing up. That was fun.
I didn't have enough friends. I went outside and ran through the forest alone, barefoot, for 6 hours, and that was my go outside. Yeah.
I can relate to that. When I was younger, we lived on the edge of a state park out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So most of my time was out in the woods alone. I wore shoes because I wasn't a heathen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, but as I got older, and a group of us got into airsoft, we would go into that same state park against the law to play airsoft. But we would do Milsim stuff out there, and that was fun. Now, if I tried to do it, I would probably have a heart attack.
Yeah,
So
but man, that's really cool. That's cool. I was always envious of the people who were like, building their own little um I guess the same thing that I built for the Splatoon game or whatever, those little like courses where you could like run through and stuff and shoot at each other. Yeah. Now we're just doing it electronically. It's the same thing.
it
Come
really
on.
is. Go play squad. I mean, why get wet outside?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
get bit by ants and spiders when you can sit on a comfortable chair and look at a screen that's slowly causing you to go blind?
Yeah. Why go outside and accidentally break your pinky toe and then not tell your parents because they always told you to wear shoes and then just keep it in your shoe until it stops swelling? Yeah.
Yeah, who would ever do that?
No. Stupid people. Yeah.
So, what are your plans for the next season?
Um Man, I think that's actually one of my questions that I just didn't hit for you. But anyway, I think we all have these really good ideas. Um but I don't really care. Like, they'll announce it and then someone will say, "Hey, I have this great idea," and I'll either go with it or I'll try something new. Um we or I guess, because I'll only speak for myself. I've never played in the Navy. I think it would be interesting. Um, there's a bunch of characters we could take to the Navy that are stupid and funny, but I really, really, really want to do like super dramatic RP because I feel like I still haven't done it. Um, and I want to find some way to do that. I don't know. What it is.
I think the hard part about that is that relies on other people to give the RP a go as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like in real life. You can try to be a certain person in life, but if people don't take you for that, it's never going to work out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how that would. Maybe it should be a private team.
Well, it requires me to be willing to give it a go, I think. Because
Right.
I'm very much like Boxer and Pierre. I don't care. Like, if I lose some stuff or if I get or I don't make money or I do make money, none of that stuff matters to me. I'm just going to keep going and nothing can stop me. So um when people say, "Oh yeah, this thing happened," I'm like, "So what? It doesn't matter. Who cares?" Um,
Well, and I think for me, Alistair was not concerned with materials. I hardly owned anything after I gave everything to Freehaven. For the rest of the season, I didn't own it.
Yeah.
I kept the bare minimum gear. I never really cared if I lost any. But what it was the people. I don't care about things, but I care about them. And I think that's where you could have that connection to a serious RP is, that connection with wanting to make sure the people around you are safe.
Yeah. Hmm.
Maybe not for you. I don't know.
I'll have to work on it. Yeah. Yeah. And I feel bad that like stuff would happen to you, stuff would happen to Croc, stuff would happen all around me, and I was like, I mean, I don't have anything to even help you with because I didn't care, so I didn't have anything, right? Um I don't know. We should I want to do more in the future is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of it though isn't necessarily giving materials to people, but giving time to people.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
You
like
may not have it now, but you can help them gather it.
yeah, yeah, that's true. I I think that I was going to try and do it with Folger. We adopted some terrible kid into the club. Um, but he gave us the opportunities to be like serious because we could tell people, yeah, we're a charity, yeah, we're helping people, yeah, we've done all this stuff, and we're lying or we're telling the truth. But once we had Folger, it was like we're helping people like this kid. We help this kid. This is stuff we're doing, and I think we could have gone like super serious, even if we were doing scams. Super serious stuff. We just never got there. So I definitely want to continue and try and do that sort of thing.
So I have to ask, the boxes that you had before the paint area for collecting charitable
Uh-huh.
donations, did any of the companies listed know that those boxes actually existed, and did anything that was donated ever go to any of those companies?
None of those companies even existed. Even the leaderboard was made up.
Oh
Um,
wow, I did not know that.
every single thing I made up the entirety of. Um, Pierre had 200 gold at the end. It was like 200 and some amount of silver and some amount of copper. And the only reason Dr. Mom had more money is because I'm stupid and I paid out the last big donation into the club members who were there. I should have kept it and I would have won. If I had kept any one of your pieces, I would have won, but I did not because I at heart care about all of you. So, yeah. But
So wait, did I just hear you call her Doctor Mom?
yeah,
Was that her nickname, Doctor
Folger
Mom?
Folger started calling her Dr. Mom, because I was telling this kid that he kept calling us dad, and I was like, yeah, well, if we're your dads and you're in the company, then that's your mom, and she was like, I don't want kids, I don't want kids, but he started calling her Dr. Mom, so I did too because I think that's funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm sure she enjoyed that thoroughly as well.
The So there was a leaderboard, right? The first one was Thorn and Rose, which was the people who gave us all of the materials to make the charity space. Like every single thing there was donated, basically.
So
Um,
they were real, right? Thorn and Rose?
Rose and Thorn is real. I rearranged it to be Thorn and Rose Awesome Patronage, so it said trap to anyone who read it. TRAP. Um, and then the amount of gold that they gave was like super up there, because I just made it up because they had given us all the stuff, so I needed a goal for people to try and hit. The next one was Boots and Cats, which is a company I made up when we attempted to sell a bear to the Rose and Thorn company because we needed competition, and that bear was from their company. We tried to sell them a bear that they had raised and claim it was from a different company. So I took their receipt and I copied it, but I put different companies and different organization, like different everything basically, to try and sell it back to them, and they refused, which I approve of. Well done. Um, the best part of that was when we got there and I was like, yeah, you got to buy this bear. This bear is awesome. And Lady Nari went, this bear looks like all other bears I sell. I was like, no. All bears look the same. And she went, no, we only breed one coloration of bear. And this is it. And I was like, ah, shoot. So that didn't work. But yeah, all those companies were made up. Every single thing was made up. Yeah.
See, Pierre is the devil. Nice.
The names I gave during jobs were either other company members' names, other company members' fake names, or I was using people that I had met. I was using their names. So, my stash house in D2, it had the name of the Navy captain who hit me with a brig as the name on the door, because I wanted it to look like a Navy person had a room somewhere if anyone was asking.
Well, who's the captain? Just out of curiosity.
Captain Jack Ryan? Come on, man. Hit my ship and then blamed out some other people. Wow.
That name doesn't even sound familiar. How long was he a captain?
Like the first month or something, and then he permed. I don't even know who it was.
Oh, fair. That's probably why I did.
So I continued to use his name, even though I knew he was permed. I think it was Boudica, yeah. The player. I continued to use his name, and so I went to Lady Nari and I was like, hey, I need a stash, or I need a place to write haikus. Will you rent me a room and put a fake name on it and all this stuff? Like, yeah. I just spread lies everywhere, basically.
So, did anyone else this season get you to sing for them?
I used it like a weapon. I sang for the Baron one time, and he commanded that I stop. So that was pretty funny. I sang it's a song in Spanish called Besame, which I thought was funny. But he yelled at me. I think there were a couple more times, but I want. So here's what I want to do next season. Honestly, if we're being real talk, you and me, mono.
No one else is here.
Yeah, no one else is here, just us. So, I really think that there's an opportunity for us to be so realistic that we can change people's lives, and I wanted someone to teach me how to sing for real, because that's something you could do in this game. You could have real singing lessons. You could evaluate people. You could give them tips. You could practice all that junk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ran painting night. I went to a lot of painting nights. People talked about paintings. Everyone talks in Discord about how good paintings are, whatever. I can teach you how to paint in the game. Like, it won't be realistic necessarily, but I can give you the basics, the principles, the whatever, even though I'm not even that super good at it, right? So next season, if I go for it, I want to have like an art studio that has real lessons about shading and design and perspective, and really gives people like real skills. I think that would be amazing to do.
No, I think that would be an interesting. That'd be interesting to see.
Yeah.
To see how well that would play out.
The only problem is painting sucks, and no one will go. But I don't care about that. Like, okay, let's say hypothetically it works, and one person shows up, right? So one person shows up and gets a lesson about like shading and how to turn a circle into a ball, right? But there could be like 3 people who watch that stream, and all those people then know, like, okay, this is a circle, and if I shade one spot and there's light or whatever, boom, it's a ball. Like, I just freaking told several people how to do it. That's amazing. So,
I mean, the other way to get more people into that is actually join a larger company too. I mean, just because you're in a large group doesn't mean you can't have your own thing. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Um, I've been thinking about that idea. You make a good point. Maybe we should. I mean, people don't really care if you wake up or not, right? Like, if
Right.
there's 25 people and Johnson over there only wakes up once a week, boom, nailed it. Like we hang out with Johnson once a week. So I think
Yeah,
that's a good idea. I don't want to be Bob Ross though. I don't know enough about him to pull him off. So sorry.
fair enough. Fair enough. Um, I think the other thing is that most companies, as long as you're not causing lag issues by
Yeah.
what you're building, don't really care.
Yeah.
So I think you could get away with that in one of the more large popular games next season.
For the
And
record,
then you have an audience.
Bob Ross streams almost 24/7 on Twitch. They play his reruns of his videos. And there's a huge community there, and they're so funny, and like there's always like several thousand people there. So definitely check that out if you do want to learn how to paint stuff. Bob Ross.
It's true.
Um, but the interesting thing is, I I wouldn't need a ship. I wouldn't need anything, right? Like I could have just a room with canvases, and I think that we as players should like try and give up more of the junk we think we need. Like, do we all really need ships? Really, I don't think so. Um, I think we can give that stuff up and still, have fun with people because we've joined a big company. So I'll try maybe. I don't know.
And that actually brings up one of the issues that I had joining companies too is that when you get into a larger company, you really can't have your own individual ship. I
Yeah.
mean, some people try to, and some people get territorial over ships and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and that was something that I forced myself to get away from this season when I gave everything to Freehaven and joined up with other people. Is I did not own a ship myself probably until like the last 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and that was just out of necessity to get around because of what was going on.
Man, it's real difficult though, right? Like,
It is because you're basically beholden. If you want to go out and do stuff, you're beholden to other people.
yeah.
And I know that I tried to join a group at the end of the last season. There was a trading company there at the Freeport that I ended up joining up with, and I hate treasure hunting. I hate ship of the damn hunting. I just I cannot. I don't get the joy out of it.
Yeah.
And that seemed like that was all they wanted to do was every day. Hey, let's go treasure hunting. It's the same thing. You're going to go someplace. You're going to summon some things. You're going to beat them over the head. You're going to pull something out of the ground. Um, so that was a big turn off for groups for me too. Is that it was always about going out and getting stuff.
Yeah. Uh.
Fritz, and I think that's a good point. And as I mentioned, I was in Bastion for about 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half near the end of the season there, and I got a lot of joy, even though I have a hard time interacting, putting myself into the interaction of the role play in large groups. I got a lot of joy out of the experience of being on a ship with a lot of that I didn't expect to get.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said about going out on a ship with 12 people and just even if you're just watching the interactions happening.
Yeah. Maybe that's the sort of key, because if you if you don't have a ship and you can't just go somewhere, right? You're either stuck on the island talking to people, or you're talking to people while you're sailing, right? So don't is it possible that something like that leads to more dramatic, more in-depth RP because you learn these backstories that people have set up and stuff versus just the, hey, we're here to do a trade, here's an hour of my time, and then you leave.
Right.
Man.
Or even when I was a transient, I mean, you met a lot of different people, and there was always that risk that you're going to get on their ship and they're going to rob you and leave you somewhere too, which
Yeah.
never actually happened. But that short time that I did that led to a lot of really good RP as well. I got ripped off by the what were they, the Carnival?
Ah.
They still owe me 16 gold. Unfortunately, I lost the receipt, so I couldn't take him to court like I was planning to do.
Oh man,
Uh,
a lot of people talk about the carnival. Very good.
yeah, that was that's one group that I wish they would have stuck to their original uh, plan for their group. And I don't know, maybe their original plan was to go black sailed and then eventually go red sailed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they only held one carnival event, and it was really good. And then they didn't do it again.
Yeah.
And I really, in character and out of character, wanted to go see their show, and I never got a chance. So if there's anyone from the carnival that ever sees this, I'm kind of bitter. I just want you to know. I feel very let down, and I'm a little frustrated, and there's a little bit of me that's angry, and
Whew.
I don't anger. So
We're calling out people who aren't the Navy now. Oh no. What has this stream become? Yeah. I think there's a lot from both sides of being solo, being small, and being huge that if we just like blended them and shared them, then we would make perfect companies. But I don't think they can. I think we're stuck in like the way human dynamics works and stuff, and the way the game works too. I think we're stuck in what we have, but I don't know.
Brackus, were you in the void?
I think he just hung out near the void occasionally.
Oh, fair.
Because
No, the
he's
company I was in had a lot of interaction with the void, and that was interesting.
we were in the same zone as them, I think. Or maybe they moved. I have no idea because I only met one of them one time. And that was on a schooner or on a sloop, and he was diving. And I rolled up next to him and I was like, dude, are you dead? And he was like, I'm not dead, I'm diving. And I was like, oh, cool, awesome. Well, we're right over there if you want to come, to the bar. And he was like, well, I'm diving. And I was like, all right, I'll see you later.
Well, the thing with the void is they had that whole like theme park thing that
Yeah.
was there, but much like Pierre, the entire thing was a scam.
Yeah.
The theme park was horrible. The whole point of it was to get people to give them money every step of the way.
Yeah.
There were docking fees, there were admittance fees, there were fees to do this, fees to do that. It was basically they were land pirates, is what they were role. And
nice.
to some extent, it was great, but it's just hard to keep that up.
Yeah, we did that, but we based the price of things on how much the person looked like they had. So we occasionally would tell people that there were like docking fees or whatever if they looked rich or something. Yeah. Man, it was funny though. Oh, speaking of completely unrelated, did you ever meet the honorable society guy?
Royal Society?
That guy, yeah.
Yeah. The what was he doing? He was basically mapping out everything. Basically, he was doing what Boxster started out doing.
Yeah.
But he actually did it, and he did it well.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of stuff happened to Boxster, and it was very unlucky. So I'm glad someone was able to do it. But his post in Discord, like about he just posted like a book screenshot or something that I don't think anyone saw, but it's really, really good. And I watched that guy stream because he streams, and I can't remember his name, or I would shout him out.
I can't remember either. I know I'm following him, but I can't remember his name.
Me too. He's probably
Gramps something.
It's
Gramps
like
something.
Grampy X.
Gramps GPS. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, we're all gonna look it up. Hold on. Watch him be on right now. That would be so funny. Nope. Gramp. Too many.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll find him.
I also cannot find him.
I kind of want to find him though, so I can call him out.
Hold on. Oh shoot!
So anyway, what were you gonna say about him? We can talk and
that guy is so good. I can't believe it. Like, like you said, he was doing what Boxster was doing and stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm
Grampy
just
TV, that one right there. Something like that. But yeah, his
he's
character was Dr. Alexander Higgins.
Ewok's guessing. Doesn't know either.
I think that's pretty close. But I'll let you find it. I gave up. So
Shoot.
it's all on you
All I can find is Angry Beaver Brewing. Dang it.
now. No, I actually had a couple of his books, and I had meant to go get more and promote what he was doing. Do you two need a moment to work this out? Is this going to be an issue here?
That is a good point. My bad. Ooh, dang. Your colors are so similar. Oh, gosh. Uncomfortable. That's okay. Somebody yesterday called Gob Brachus or something like that because their colors are the same. All right, I don't know freaking what it is, but this.
Well, I mean, isn't his name right there? Can't you just click on his name and
can't
see
because I searched it. It won't let me do it. Because you're on my Discord, so I can't use it. Anyway.
Oh, fair enough.
Whatever his actual thing is, that guy is so good. That post right there is genius. And I think that what he was doing as a solo character really made the world like more rich, I guess, because he was, doing things that we've all sort of tried to do with science and all of that junk, but he's doing the whole feeling, the whole, I don't know. Like, he's talking about a society in the past that he's working for, and then in the future he's sending that information to them and stuff, right? So he made the world feel like we were connected to other places, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, I mean, I think that he was one of my favorite characters for that fact.
Yeah.
And not just because I enjoy the history of the Royal Society of England. I mean, it had members like Isaac Newton, Elias Ashmole. I mean, it was basically where science became science after the Renaissance. But the fact that he did it so well and he played his character so well was great.
Yeah. I thought of it because that's the guy. That's one of the people that we charge money for sleeping in our free dock.
Of course.
Not because he was sleeping there. He was actually asleep in the overnight parking spot, but because his sloop didn't have any protection and he was exposed, I told him I had insurance covering him specifically because he might die and that he owed us money.
Did he actually pay?
He paid like 1/3 of the amount, and then he left, and then mail showed up charging us for parking in his spot because I went and left him a letter. So he charged us in return, and it became this like charge war kind of thing where we were both trying to get money from each other. Pretty good.
That is good. That's actually very good.
What a great character. We should all try and be that guy.
Well, I interacted with him a bit, while he was streaming, and I know he mentioned that next season he was considering going Navy, and he did say that if he did do that RP again that he did this season, he would want to do it with a larger group that was helping.
Yeah,
because it was a lot of work for a single person, and most of his gameplay was spent doing it, and then the interactions in between. So.
I believe it. Yeah, Pierre paid a lot of money for medical insurance. That's true. But all of the money I paid out a lot of money, but I did it in order to advance larger schemes. So, and plus it actually worked. But at the beginning of the
I feel like there's a story here that we're missing out on.
Well, so at the beginning, Shelter was playing Dr. Bram, and I kept saying Dr. Bram Stoker, but or Bram anyway. So he set up an insurance like network, and so there were all these doctors in it, and you just paid medical first, and then you could go to any of these doctors, right? So Pierre paid like 10 gold or something for the gold plan for a certain number of weeks, and like when I needed help or something like that, we would go to these specific ports and try to get medical help. And we wound up at like the ladies' night place with, I think it was me. I needed help because GobTube had dropped me off this huge ledge, and I was claiming my legs hurt. And so we were at ladies' night at the port, just like looking for people if there was a doctor. And one of them was there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you're on the plan," and he just gave me free medical help, and that was amazing.
So the RP actually circled around and actually worked out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think medical first died off pretty quick into the season, didn't it?
Because Shelter wanted to join us. Yeah.
Oh, Shelter was the one that did that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I remember meeting them. I had at the beginning of the season, I rented a house at Freehaven, and I also rented a house at Osiris, which was the same island Medical First was at.
Yeah. So Brackus was one of the doctors on the plan. There were like 5 or 6 or something total. But at the same time, Pierre bought insurance for himself. He bought I forged Zvi's will, and I made Pierre's own will, and then I bought life insurance for both of us, but I think just Zvi in the end. And then in the case that Zvi died, his fake will said that I got the bar, I got all of his possessions, I got everything, right? So I literally tried to set him up to die over and over again, but it never worked out because I needed a witness that wasn't me, that could be like, "Oh yeah, he died of natural causes, it's fine." Plus I didn't want to, like, stop Ewok from RPing, so like I was
Need a corrupt notary.
Yeah.
Next season.
Well, I never stopped him from going for like scorpions and stuff. None of that, because if he went out and got high and died, I was there. Like I had the document the entire season ready. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I did a bunch of stuff like that. And all of these scams were set up like, if it works out, I'll make money. If it doesn't work out, just keep moving. Like it doesn't matter, because when the scam is there, there's no risk really for the person who's taking from you. So, or that's the goal anyway.
I think we didn't have many interactions this season, but one of my favorites was when you were when I was a patron at the restaurant, and you were having a fake argument with Svi in the kitchen.
Because he wasn't awake.
Right. That was hilarious.
Oh man.
You broke me. Luckily I wasn't interacting with you, so you couldn't really tell, but you broke me with that.
Man, that was good. We did it for real a bunch of times, but in that instance I needed it to seem like he was awake because I was giving you food that was already made. So we had a fake argument, and it was just me. Oh man, I forgot. Yeah. All the money that was paid into the bar, I skimmed off the top the entire time. Every time I did the register, I took some. Yeah. I stole from every single person in the club.
That's great.
Yeah, all of our food was pre-made. That's true, but he would still turn on the grills and stuff to make it like he was working and all that junk.
Right.
Yes, we did scam you a lot. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry.
I feel like there's some bitterness coming from Ewok here that you two need to resolve. Do we need to pull him into this so that we can have a counseling session here?
No, it's totally fine. He's mad that Shelter and I took a bunch of money from him one time. because he just agreed with something, and then we were like, okay, cool, it's 4 gold a piece. And Shelter, without even hesitating, was like, yep, exactly. And we just took money from him for no reason. Sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I
I
feel so
didn't
bad.
realize Fee was treated so badly there. That's
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
horrible.
Well, I mean, May was a mark because she had money and she had a good reputation. It worked because originally I tried it with Aurora, and like it worked, and your reputation was fine, and everyone I saw you interact with, they seemed like you were like a pure person or whatever. So we needed you to do jobs with us and lie, and you wouldn't. You were the only one making money. I'm really sorry. I apologize. You had 200 gold shrimps. We needed your money. I apologize. And we didn't take it.
As she just recently, in the beginning of this stream, was bragging about how she had 240 gold.
Exactly.
And now suddenly she doesn't have money.
Exactly. Wow.
These things don't add up.
She's going to yell, I offered you the money multiple times and you never took it. But, I mean, I felt like we could make so much more money if you just ran the jobs with us. But she was there for the fake privateer thing, so I appreciate the people who went to that. That was awesome.
Fake privateer?
Yeah, we went to the Navy because we had met Foster, and we were trying to get Foster to join the schooner club. And then he was like, I'm going back to the Navy. So I decided that he would be a good point of contact with the Navy and that we could use him, right? So we created a fake privateer company, and we gathered up all the materials that he wanted because Foster likes bamboo, straw, and hemp. So we got all these like random resources that Foster likes, and we went to the Navy in the red coats that you saw. That like we had a bunch of the uniforms because Foster had donated them to the company, to the charity, in order to be on the leaderboard, right? The entire leaderboard's fake, but he donates to get onto it. So we took those uniforms, turned them around, made a privateer company with them, and then he agreed to try and get us Navy uniforms, like legitimate Navy uniforms, and also to get us at least a copy of a privateer, like, what is it called? Like a license or something?
Mark.
I was going to make a fake one, but I needed to see one in order to make it. So we went there under the understanding that he was going to be there and we were going to make this trade. And then once we had the uniforms and the mark, we were going to go inspect ports on our own and do stuff like that, right? It didn't pan out, but we literally stood in the Navy trade docks and we said, we are privateers. We're here to meet Foster. Here's our fake names or our real names, depending on who we were. And then, so we're standing there, we're waiting. And someone goes, hey, whose ships are these parked over at the military little area? And we had parked there, right? And we're just standing there like, la, 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 la. And they're looking at our ships and crawling all over them and stuff. And I was like, come on, guys, we got to like go around the lighthouse so we can escape. And as we're like coming around the lighthouse, apparently there was a fake company that was actually NID, but they had some company that they were using the name of or something, and they were all blue. So we're leaving and they're coming in, and we like pass each other and we're like, hey, how's it going? And we leave down the docks and we like run away and get on the ships and we escape, right? And then yeah, it was awesome. It was the most tense thing we did the entire season. It was very cool. Yeah, you could have been a part of it. You could have helped us.
I wouldn't have, though. That was the problem.
I know, but it doesn't matter.
I guess that would have been better, actually, if everything that you're doing was being reported.
Yeah. Oh, man, that would have been awful. Man, we would have
Would have been
lost
great.
so much. But the Navy would have come to paint night 100%. So
I tried to get them,
yeah,
kind of tried to get them to come to paint night once, and I was so aggravated that they didn't. It was that night that I had shown up, and someone started shooting off red flares, and legitimately, Alistair in character was kind of terrified because of the war, and he had had a lot of black sails showing interest in him and things, and so these red flares go off. So instantly, back to the Navy he went. He had just left there. Reports that paint night's under attack. That it's happening at the Red Dick's whatever tavern and bar. We have to talk about that name in a minute, by the way.
yeah, sure.
And then, and so they send out a patrol, and I don't want to get in the grid. I don't want to get in the middle of this, so I go to another grid and I start watching streams just to see how it plays out. They come into the grid and they check every single other island except for the one that the place is on. I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I was hoping to see this Navy group rush in and just find paint night.
Man, I don't know what we would have done. I would have been freaking out because like I didn't write down any of the fake names. I gave a lot of names and a lot of companies to a lot of people. So I also invited them all to paint night because I wanted to try and get that situation where there's multiple people who know me as different things and they're all trying to figure it out. It did happen once at the Barons get together for the arena, but I guess nobody wanted to kill me that bad, so it was fine.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Red Dick's Backdoor Memorial Restaurant and Gift Shop is the name of the place.
Yeah, where did that come from? Was that something from a previous season, or?
Yeah, that's a joke. When Jeffrey and Mythocles were hanging out with Boxster, Mythocles was really sad, and I kind of wanted to cheer him up, and it was really out of character for Boxster, I think, but Boxster told Mythocles a lot, I like you, you're important to me, you're a good friend, in the same way that Edward and Croc were. I just didn't have those characters around me anymore, so I guess it was Mythocles. And he was feeling really down because of all the stuff that had happened. So Boxster put on a fake cafe in this little sitting area that I had for Boxster and Robin. And Jeffrey and Mythocles sat in it, and Boxster did a fake French accent, and he said, "My name's Pierre. This is Red Dick's Backdoor," because they had been calling Boxster Red Dick for a while because of Osos. So, that's just the dive bar idea that I had. Red Dick's Backdoor. Pierre was a gay waiter that Boxster played in this little scenario. There was a dance, the pudding dance, because they wanted pudding, right? And so Ewok said, "Hey, I want to do a restaurant." And I was like, "Well, I'm not really into that. But if we go for that, can we call it Red Dick's Backdoor? Here's the joke." And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So Pierre, Red Dick's, all of that stuff was a joke from the previous season that someone had said, right? And then in this season, I just made them real. So, yeah. And we did that over and over again. There were a lot of jokes that we had from previous seasons that we made real in different iterations.
I know that I appreciated coming into the restaurant and seeing paintings that I knew were from the paint night of the previous season.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I had intended to sell them, and then I had the idea that paint night was going to pay for itself because all these people were going to come to paint night and do the paintings, and then they weren't going to come the next night, and I was going to auction off their paintings from the previous week. And I was going to do it over and over again, but the same people kept coming, so it didn't work. So I had to come up with the other paintings. But
yeah. I tried to come to paint night more often, but I was always found myself getting pulled into other things.
Yeah, that's cool.
Or getting scared away because of red flares.
That was me.
I know it was.
So that's one of the things I asked about, and I ask a lot of people about. Realism versus having fun. I don't really like running around and shooting a lot of flares. I don't like shooting each other. I don't like stabbing each other. I don't like pulling a bunch of animals in while we're having a conversation and killing them. I don't like any of that junk. But when I had the opportunity to do it with my friends, I did it because it was fun. So how can I say I don't like it if I did it all the time? I don't know. It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the first group that I joined this season, which was kind of a continuation of all the groups that I was in later in the season in different forms, there was a lot of that shooting each other and shooting off flares, and it was actually something that had caused a lot of the conflict eventually, amongst other things. Um, I didn't care for it. I didn't let it bother me. I
No.
didn't take part in it, and or anything like that. But it really, to me, it ruined a lot of places where there could be very good RP. But at the same time, if you're playing for 6 hours,
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be times where you slip.
Yeah. We
I don't. I didn't let it bother me, and I wouldn't let it bother me in the future, I guess.
we couldn't make any flares, so we did a job just for flares. Um and then I yelled at people to not waste them and to not use them and stuff. And then once Dr. May joined, we had hundreds of flares and we were just using them like candy, like just so
And to some extent, I mean, there is a bit of RP there in the fact that it was something that came up gradually, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, we
I
go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought it was great when the red flares went off at Doc because no one at that port had any idea what was going on in Alistair's head.
Yeah.
But that was he honestly, in character, thought there was a real threat there. And
Well, in that
because of things
specific
that had happened
instance,
beforehand.
I I I had been yelling for people in the previous weeks to like come, and I knew I was like breaking people's eardrums and stuff. So I was like, well, we have all these flares. I'll shoot some flares to try and start the event, right? And then I went, what color should they be? Well, this is Red Dick's back door. Let's make them red, just like the lighthouse, just like everything else. So they were red because that's who we were. Everything we did was like in red light. So my bad. Again, I'm really sorry.
But what's great is that near the end of the season, so my character had very few interactions with pirates all season long,
Mhm.
despite the groups that he was within. It's kind of surprising. But when the other members of the group of three that I was in went and joined the Navy, I got trailed by pirates like 4 or 5 times. And so in character, in legitimately, it was all coincidence.
Yeah.
In every time, it happened to be Blackmire. Once I was a region away from theirs, and they were on a patrol. The other time they were on a patrol in Meyer, but it was all coincidence. So I knew out of character that they weren't stalking me.
Yeah.
But in character, they were stalking. And, my friends are all out at the
Yeah.
Navy doing their thing, and I'm like all alone with. I mean, we had so much mythos and so much gold. I'm like, that they were blown. Their cover was blown. Everyone, knew that they were now Navy sympathizers, and here I am alone with all of these assets, and
Yeah.
suddenly all these black-sailed ships are following.
That's awesome.
So when I showed up, that was like, oh shit, did they follow me?
Yeah.
Even though I knew out of character they did.
Man, the like strange random occurrences are so good. Like that. Wow.
Well, like the cat on my picture there, that was actually Sextia's cat from the Legion. She was one of the leaders of the Legion. And we had ended up in a Navy convoy as white-sailed ships, helping them move stuff from the Legion to the Navy when they merged with the Navy, all of the resources and stuff. And Sextia, when she joined the Navy, had to get rid of her animals, so she threw it at me and guilted me into taking care of it.
Awesome. I don't know any of those details that you gave because I was so focused on Pierre, but um that's crazy that it's crazy that so much stuff happens that you never see too.
Well, there's just hundreds of pockets of little stories happening everywhere, and you only get a taste of each little one,
Yeah.
which is kind of neat. I mean, you see it through different streams if you watch enough streams and things like that. But
Yeah.
there's just so much that no one will ever know about that was happening.
Yeah. Which is why, to bring it all back together, you should message the people you enjoy interacting with because they don't know that they're doing what they should be doing. Definitely.
Unless they're an admin or a moderator
Yeah,
or the owners of
not
the
the
server,
admin team.
don't do
Hold
that.
on. Speaking of, I did that myself because I'm stupid. Don't be like me. I have a good friend in Flutter now, but maybe don't do that. So. Holy snap. It has been 2.5 hours. As with all of these, I have to pee. Because I drank a bunch of tea. But I know we could just like sit and chill forever. Oh snap!
Yeah, I have to sleep too. So,
so Dustin Slane appears to be working with Ark now. Awesome.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So there's this list.
I had a little bit of withdrawal when I kept refreshing and there was nothing there anymore. So I couldn't find people that were streaming.
Yeah,
so that's good to know.
It's supposed to just be Atlas, but let me see. There's. Oh yeah. Oh no. It still says. Yeah, no, it works. It still says Atlas at the bottom, but it's definitely working. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that is good. Now I can get my DarksideRP fix from a distance.
Yeah. I know exactly where we're gonna go. So, oh, before that, oh man, sorry, I'm not trying to take an opportunity away from you that other people got. Flutter told me, and I can tell there are almost 7,000 people on the forum through Darkside. The community's huge. Do you have anything you'd like to say to those people?
Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
that I wasn't expecting.
Ta-da! We did it.
Has she been trying to get you to ask everyone this, and I'm the first one?
No.
Okay.
I actually asked the first person, and then she told me that I was wrong, and it was 500 higher than what I was saying, and I was like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, you're right."
Fair. I don't know. I guess kind of the message that you get from the moderators and the admins is, have fun with your RP, but don't take it so personal that you actually get hurt if something doesn't go the way you want it, because it never always will go the way you want it.
Yeah. Yeah. Plan a little bit, but be ready to give your plan up. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Chaos can bring a lot of fun. So don't be upset if all of your plans fall apart.
Yeah. Mostly just have fun. Yeah. Considerate fun of other people. Yeah, anyway, we could keep going. All right. Cool. I'm going to end this interview type thing that is what it is. Thank you very much for being here and hanging with me and these other people who are also here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm glad that Flutter now knows that I'm an actual human that actually has a face.
Yeah, we did it. I'm
that
also
doesn't
a human.
have a English or bad Irish accent.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I can't tell because maybe you're doing an accent right now.
Look, just because I live in Michigan near the Canadian border doesn't mean...
Canada. Anyway, I'm starting a raid, so we have 10 seconds of awkward silence.
Oh, well, you should tell them to do a raid call or something. Isn't that how professionals
raid call?
do it?
No, I don't care what you people say. They don't even have to go with us. It doesn't matter.
Should you be like, I don't know, bring back Boxster. There you go. I can
no. Sadness. washes over us, or tragedy washes over us.
Oh,
That's the
I was
right
going
goal.
to say,
Yeah.
Freudian psychologist is my